Hey everyone, Gretchen Wegner here, and today I am super excited because I got a fabulous question from someone who found one of my YouTube videos. Her name is Yaya, and she's a junior at a university in Massachusetts, and she asked a question that I thought everyone would benefit hearing from. So here it is. She has a timed essay. Whoops, that's the wrong side. She has a timed essay coming up. And she is supposed to read 4 articles before the essay. She is then supposed to respond to a prompt that she's not actually going to find out about until she's there sitting ready to get started with writing. And she's allowed to have the articles with her plus some small annotations, but no highlighting on those articles. And what she said to me is she gets super anxious about these kinds of things. Like, how do I prepare to write about something that I have no idea what the prompt is going to be? She also shared with me, let me see if I can show this to you. It's going to be a little blurry, but these are the 4 articles that she is needing to respond to. And so they're all about the idea of grit. So Jerry, you seem, is grit overrated? This one, grit, perseverance, and passion for long-term goals. David Denby, the limits of grit. And then the introduction to a book by Paul Tough that I've actually read all about grit. So one of the things I noticed by looking at these already is that there are some topics. Like there's a question, is grit overrated? Like, is grit helpful for people to have, or are we making too much of it? Here, we see that there's a theme of perseverance, maybe passion, and long-term goals. So these are some themes that are coming out already that I would be looking for how each of these authors are responding to it. The limits of grit. So that looks like there's going to be something in common between the David Denby piece and the Jerry Useem piece. And I'm guessing, well, I know because I've read it, that Paul Tough is very much for grit. So there's going to be an argument for why it's a good thing. So those are things that I would be looking for immediately as I start reading, and I would probably start marking, like, when is their passion showing up here? When are long-term goals talked about? What are some limits to grit? And then I would also make myself a chart. This is obviously on a whiteboard. You could do it by hand, or you could do it on Excel or in a Microsoft Word document. But I would list each of the readings and have a row for them, and then pull those themes that I mentioned, like limits of grit right there, or long-term goals might go right there. As you're reading, you might discover other themes. Maybe you're going to have 5 columns or 7 columns of themes that a variety of authors are talking about. And then as you read each of the articles, annotate for these themes and then put them, like, write them up on this chart so that by the time you're done, every box is filled in. If this reading doesn't address this theme, you can just write none or NA in it. But what you're doing is you're starting to, what I like to call, like, manipulating the information. Like, you're getting in there as if it's clay and you're pressing it and moving it all around to try and understand what are the major ideas here. Once you've made a chart like this, then you're much more able to respond to any kind of prompt because you will have understood the building blocks of each of these articles. And I'm sure you will be able to respond well. Now, you could take an added step if you want, and that is maybe ask somebody else to ask an overarching question, or maybe you yourself could think about what would be some interesting questions to write about. And then practice making an outline to an essay that might answer some of those questions. Like, I am guessing, just based on looking at those articles, one of the questions that they might ask you to is just to analyze grit. Is it a good thing or not? And why not? Make an argument in that direction. So you could practice making that argument on a piece of paper. You don't actually have to write it out, but I would at least make an outline. These are bullets right here. Make a bulleted list. So Yaya, I hope this is helpful to you. I'm sure it's helpful to a lot of you out there. As always, please email me with any questions, Gretchen@GretchenWegner.com. And you can check out my anti-boring approach to powerful studying if you want more tips like this. And I will see you in the next video. Take care, y'all.